Hey everybody, in this video I'm making door panels. I get the doors put together. I got hinges. Gonna do some more work on the body, and I'll show you this cool steering wheel I made. Make sure you stay tuned. Okay guys, I'm back. So let me show you what I've gotten done. Now, I had to glue the doors back together, and I did that. I also put them into the door holes, into the door frames, right? And got them taped in so I know exactly where they need to sit. I put the chassis in, and I marked out where everything is going to sit in the chassis. As you can see here, I put a line in, so that's where the back of this is going to sit, right? Then I went and marked a line right across here, across the bottom. This is the top of the floor right here. Now I put this in to tie this end and this end together because they were starting to get a little too flimsy and wobble around. So did the same thing on this side, and I just took a little piece of styrene. You can use whatever size you want, and I went from where the firewall locks in right there, glued it on this piece, glued it on this piece. Once everything was dry, I trimmed it back a little bit and tapered it just a little. Doesn't take much. So now when I put this in, it will actually lock into place, and then I'll glue my lights in, and that'll be good to go. The doors are not attached, as you can see. They're just kind of sitting there, sitting up against it, and you won't see this strip on the inside because it'll be underneath. It's down here. So all you'll see is the floor when the door opens. Okay. So also, as you see, I got the doors glued. Now, the next thing I've got to do is cut these down just a little bit because they are a little too long for what I need them to do. I'm going to cut them from right here and cut this piece completely off. I'll put a new piece in. Also, I'm going to shave off all of this. I'm going to leave this door handle up here, and then I'm going to use some aluminum from a pop can, and I'm going to turn this car into a bit of a monster. Oh, yeah, monster Java. Anyways, and that is going to go, I'll cut a piece so it sits right on here, covers it all up, because I want an aluminum door skin, so I'm going to put some rivets in this. So I'm going to cut these down. Now, if you remember, the engine, when I put the pulleys on, the pulleys sat on top of this cross member. So I've actually stretched this frame, which would be scale 3 inches. And now the engine sits down on the engine mounts, right? And just barely clears, let me zoom in, just barely clears that cross member, which is absolutely fine. I shaved it down just a little bit. I stretched the frame 3 inches. Now, because I've stretched the frame, where this axle is going to sit and where the trailing arms, the ladder bars are going to sit, I actually had to fill in where the ladder bar normally sat, so I will also have to make a new notch in the frame for the ladder bar to glue onto. So that's where I'm at. Now, like I said, next thing I'm going to do is start cutting these up and get my doors off of here. Now that I've got everything set where I need it to, take this off. And it's pretty cool how the door is going to open that way. But anyways, set that off to the side for now. So these things are going to sit just like this, right? Sit flush to the, just below the bottom of the window, flush on this side, right? So as you can see, I've got to cut this edge off. So I'll just put a new piece in right beside it, and that'll be done. You won't really see it anyways. It's more just to close off the end for when I put the piece of aluminum on, right? Put the aluminum on there. That'll look pretty cool. So I got to do both of those. So I don't have to keep checking all the time. I'll mark the doors left and right. Left side is driver's, right side is passenger. These here are already marked. I got them scratched in at the back. I don't know if you can see that. There's an L. This one's got an R in there. See it there a little bit. So I can just grab and go. So frame is off to the side. Body's off to the side. Now I'm going to cut these, and we'll probably just start gluing them on directly. I'll probably retape the doors on so that I can make sure that the panel and everything is sitting properly. But for now, let's just cut these things up. Okay, so you saw me glue that on. You saw me cut the end piece off. I'm going to let that dry. I shaved it. You also saw me cut this piece here. Now I still want to make some rivet marks in it. That's why it's not glued on yet. Now you also saw me take the door and trace out the curve, because the curve is the same as the inner panel, right? And I need to make a piece to fill here, right? So I'll glue that piece in. I got another piece for this door. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to get this one cut up and glued on. Let that dry, and I'm going to make another one of these panels. And then before I glue them on, I'll come back. I'll show you how I'm going to put rivet marks in it. And yeah, we're that much closer to making hinges. Oh yeah, which reminds me, I can't glue these on until I actually make hinges, which means I'm going to have to cut into this section right here. I almost screwed myself up. And yeah, that's that door. So show you. So yeah, I have to make hinges, which means I gotta curve into this piece. And once this is on the door, I'll have to cut into this piece so that I can make a hinge going this way, right? So when I come back, I'll have most of this done. I won't have these panels on yet until I've got hinges made. So I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to make the hinges, and we'll get everything fitted up. So we'll see you in a little bit. Hey guys, well, I'm back, and if you haven't noticed, I took a bit of a break between the last clip and this clip. And that's because I was doing a small scale build with the hosts Bryan and Shawn. If you haven't checked that out, go check out my videos on that, and then go check out their channels as well. I'll leave links down in the description for that. But now I'm back on this, so let me show you what I got done during the time I was doing that small scale build. So I did get some stuff primed. So as you see here, this chassis part has been primed. Now I still have to notch into the sides here for the door hinges, but we'll get into that. The body was primed, and some of it still is. Now some of it worked out fine, but for some reason the outside of it, the paint did not want to cure properly. Now I know when I was painting, I come to realize that some of this primer that I was using, because I had 2 cans of it, one was almost empty, and the other one was new. The empty one seemed to work just fine on this stuff, and kind of started on the inside, and then when I went to the outside, I switched to the full can, and it just didn't want to cure properly. So this stuff is primed, but I had to clean off the car as much as possible, because the more I sanded it, the more it just gummed everything up. So in that sense there, a little bit of lacquer thinner, and I cleaned it off as much as I could. Then I sanded it all down again with 400. Now I am going to prime it again with a totally different type of primer. I come to realize that the can of primer I was spraying with, the new can, even though it was brand new, it was way out of date. And I've talked to a few companies, and yeah, that's a good chance of what it was, why it wasn't curing. So we're going to change to a different primer. So this is now ready again for a secondary prime, I guess, now. But anyways, so I'll get that primed. Again, with the doors, we'll get them primed. I've started to notch in for the hinges. We've got some holes here. I don't know if you can see that there. I got some holes in. I still got to drill another one in this one. Right. So those are almost good to go. Now, haven't touched the frame, motor. I've drilled all the holes for spark plug wires and stuff like that. There you go. So I got holes drilled for the spark plugs. I have holes drilled for the starter. I think I'm going to put one more yet. I'm not sure. As for the positive, I may put an ignition wire on, so we'll see that. And I got dipstick built for this, as you can see here. Now it's not glued in yet. I'll take that out when I prime and paint the engine. These upper holes are drilled. I still got to do some for the fuel pump yet. And I'm thinking probably going to do some for the tranny lines. We'll go from there. Probably drill out some holes and stuff for the water pump yet and the water neck housing. Now I've also done the alternator. I've drilled a hole in the back of the alternator for the power wire. You can see there. The power wire will go in there. Some more of that turned aluminum for the pulleys. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, I was going to show you the steering wheel. Well, the steering wheel is the steering wheel from this model, but I cut the ring off of the steering wheel all the way around. And this is what I did with it. I made a chain link steering wheel. Now, how I did that is, again, I cut the ring off around the outside. All right, started off by just cutting in between each spoke, and then trimmed it as I needed afterwards. Now, I used some of this chain. You're probably wondering where I get this chain. I got all kinds of it. I got brass, I got gold, I got silver, I got black. But anyways, yeah, this chain, it's the flattened chain link. It's not a standard chain link. It's a flattened chain link. All right. Now, with a lot of fiddling, what I did was I took the original steering wheel and I traced it onto a piece of paper. So I made a circle with it. All right. And then I found something that was the same diameter as the steering wheel. Now, fortunately enough, I had bought one of these, right, quite a while ago, and this is the cap for it. Okay, goes on there. It's a Mastercraft. This came from Canadian Tire here in Canada. Go like this for you so you can actually read it. But it just so happened to be that this cap was the exact size I needed. Okay, just worked out to my favor. So what I did was the circle that I drew, this here happened to be just the right size, right? So then what I did was I took some chain and I wrapped it around, just like so, and marked it a couple lengths further than I needed, right? Then I spread it apart, connected it to the other side, and double checked by putting it over top of this, right? So I'd take it once it was hooked together, I would drop it over top of this and see how it fit. If it was a link too tight, it wouldn't go down, so I'd give it another link. If it was a link too loose, well, then I'd take one link away until it sat perfectly. Then I super glued it together, dropped in my chrome centerpiece, and there you go. I had a steering wheel. So that's how I did that. Now that's pretty freaking cool, I think anyways. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Now for the hinges, I already made these. I'll show you. Zoom in on everything for you. They're not the smallest, but they're not the biggest either. Anyways, so here's my hinges. If I could stop touching the freaking tape. There we go. So here, what I did is I took paper clips and I bent them into this shape. Now these ones here are made of two pieces. You can make them as one piece, like this one here. This one here, I put a piece of styrene tube. I put the wire through it, bent the two loops, a couple pieces of styrene tube on the trunk, stuck them through, and then I just gave it a slight bend. I'll hide this stuff later. So basically that's what I did here. See, I'll take this, now that everything's sticking to me. No, go. So this is how it's shaped. This is not easy doing this in camera. Okay, so this is how it's shaped from the side. And if you roll it over, this is how it's shaped this way. Now I still need to straighten out a couple more things and finalize it, but I made two of them, right? And the other one faces opposite, so this rod would be facing the other way. So that rod, now you can use styrene or you can use any type of metal tubing. And it just slides in there, kind of. Anyways, you get the gist of it. So yeah, so you'll have your center tube. You have your two other tubes that'll slide onto these rods here. These ones will slide in. This will get glued onto either the door or the pillar, and these ones will get glued onto opposite of what you glued this one to. So if you guys want to see me do a tutorial about this and how to make these hinges and how the two different ways they operate, let me know down in the comments. Also, if you like these type of videos and how this car is coming out, hit that like button for me and maybe even hit that subscribe button for me, please. So that's where I'm at. That's what I've gotten done. I'm about to go prime that car again, get that all done up, and in the next video you'll see that primed. I was just looking at maybe cutting this grill out because it just kind of looks a little cheesy. You know, radiator, I might make my own radiator. Clean this up, make my own grill surround for the front of the frame. So that's where I'm at. Please hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. It is free. It helps out the channel. Hit that like button for me. Also, you want to hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future builds. Don't forget to give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and my Facebook group. Those links will be down in the description. And also, I do have a link down there for PayPal me if you decide that you want to try and help out the channel at all. With all that being said, just do it your way. Until next time, later.